This is the dark end of the soldier who pierced Jesus on the cross. It all started when Jesus was crucified on the cross. Now, it is well known that the Roman soldier Longinus was the one who pierced Jesus' side with a spear, famously pulling out a red cloth and some water. But what happened next has been largely forgotten over the years. You see, Longinus wasn't just any soldier. He was a hardened veteran of many campaigns, and when he was ordered to help carry out the crucifixion, he didn't hesitate. But while he was there carrying out his orders, strange things began to happen. The sky grew dark as night. An earthquake shook the ground and the veil of the temple was torn in two. And as he looked up and saw Jesus on the cross, he heard him say, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And those words pierced his soul. Longinus immediately felt remorse for his actions. This was no ordinary man on the cross. In that moment, he knew deep in his heart that Jesus was the Son of God. With that realization, everything changed for Longinus. He went from being just a soldier following orders to becoming one of the first non-Jewish people to have faith in Jesus. He became a believer, but that's not all. The Bible tells us that after Jesus died, Longinus cried out, "Truly this was the Son of God." This was the first time that a non-Jew acknowledged Jesus as the Messiah. It was a radical move, especially for a Roman soldier. This declaration didn't go unnoticed. People began to take notice of this former soldier. They wanted to know how someone who had seen Jesus die could claim that he was the Son of God. So Longinus did something radical. He left the army and began to follow Jesus. He turned away from his old life and dedicated himself to sharing the message about Jesus. He traveled all over, telling everyone he met about the miracles he witnessed and the transformative power of faith in Jesus. He even went as far as Cappadocia, where he told people about Jesus and how much he had changed his life. Longinus' story had a profound impact on many people. Wherever he went, crowds gathered to hear about the Roman soldier who had given up everything to follow the new teacher from Nazareth. And if you're wondering who Cappadocia was, let me tell you. Cappadocia was a region in ancient Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, known for its distinctive landscape shaped by volcanic activity. It was here that Longinus came to believe in Jesus and later found his final resting place. As for Caesarea, it was a coastal city in ancient Palestine, strategically important and diverse, where Longinus also shared his testimony, indicating the early spread of Christianity beyond Jewish communities. Now, you might be curious about the exact location of his travels and whether there is evidence to support Longinus' journey to these places. And you're right to ask, because details matter. While the Bible doesn't give specific locations, early Christian writings and archaeology provide clues. For example, the writings of the church father Eusebius in the 4th century refer to Cappadocia as the place where Longinus, along with other figures like the Apostle Paul, preached Christianity. Additionally, archaeological findings in Caesarea Maritima, such as the ruins of a church dedicated to Longinus, suggest that he did indeed visit this city and played a significant role in its early Christian community. So yes, while the Bible might not explicitly state the exact routes he took, additional historical sources and physical evidence point to Cappadocia and Caesarea as definite stops in Longinus' missionary journey. It's amazing to think that through his travels, Longinus helped spread the message of Jesus far and wide. But his story doesn't end there. There's more to his incredible journey. You see, when Longinus was at the cross, something miraculous happened that changed him forever. As the blood and water flowed from Jesus' pierced side, some of it landed on his face, and instantly his chronic eye condition was healed. In the Bible, it says that before this, he had not been able to see clearly. But after this, his eyes were opened, and he could see perfectly. For those who don't know, Longinus had served in many wars and battles, and the constant exposure to sand and smoke had damaged his eyes. He had tried everything to fix them, but nothing worked. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, he was completely healed. And you're probably thinking, so what? One less thing to worry about, right? Well, not so fast. You see, this miracle was much more than just a physical healing. It was also a spiritual awakening. Up until that moment, Longinus hadn't fully believed in Jesus. He'd seen him do amazing things, but he still wasn't sure if he was the Son of God. But after his eyes were healed, everything changed. He realized that Jesus had done this miracle to show him that he was real, that he cared about him, and that he wanted him to follow him. This healing marked a turning point in his life. It was the moment when he went from being just a soldier to becoming a disciple of Jesus, But unfortunately, not everyone was happy about this. Rome was furious with Longinus because he had deserted his post and abandoned his military duties. They considered this a serious offense, and they weren't going to let him get away with it. Soon, they caught up with him and threw him into prison. They wanted to make an example out of him, to show other soldiers that if they tried to leave, they would be punished severely. Longinus knew that this was dangerous, but he didn't regret what he had done. He was ready to give up his life rather than betray his new faith. When they brought him before the judge, they asked him why he had left the army, and without hesitation, Longinus spoke up. He told them that he had seen Jesus, the Son of God, and that he had put his faith in him. He didn't care what they did to him because he knew he had made the right choice. And as you can imagine, this didn't go over well. The judge was furious, and he sentenced Longinus to death. They dragged him outside the city and prepared to execute him. But Longinus was calm. He knew that this was part of his journey now. He was following in the footsteps of Jesus, who had also been crucified outside the city walls. As they tied him to the stake, he closed his eyes and thought about everything that had happened to him. He remembered the day he had pierced Jesus' side and how the Son of God had forgiven him. He thought about the miracle of his healing and how it had led him to faith. And then he thought about all the people whose lives he had touched with his testimony. Longinus had become one of the first martyrs, someone who was willing to give up their life for their beliefs. And as the sun set on that day, Longinus breathed his last breath, and his body was laid to rest in the ground. News of his martyrdom spread quickly, and people began to visit his grave in Cappadocia. They wanted to pay their respects to the soldier who had shown them that no matter what, faith in Jesus was worth it. Over time, he became known as Saint Longinus, a symbol of courage and devotion. So remember, friends, no matter what happens in life, stay faithful. Don't be afraid to follow Jesus, no matter the cost. And always remember that no one is beyond redemption. Even the soldier who pierced Jesus on the cross can find forgiveness and become a beacon of faith. If Longinus can change, so can anyone. If you liked this video, please share it with your friends and family. Also, if you want to learn more about the life of Jesus, subscribe for more videos. Thank you for watching.